Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. In the aftermath of the Ben Whittaker Liam Cameron rematch, when he was interviewed, I think post-fight it was, the post-fight press conference, Whittaker became quite emotional. He talked about the abuse he's taken. Ben Shalom said similar things. People saying, horrendous things to him through social media and all this sort of stuff. And I don't doubt that that's true. We've all seen it. I'm not on Twitter. Well, I am. I've got a account, but I never ever use it. But if you just generally peruse social media, you will see, the most horrendous things said about perfectly decent, innocent people who wouldn't say boo to a goose. But there are some very strange people out there in the world, some rather mentally brittle people, and maybe some flat-out sociopaths. I mean, there's plenty of them. This is the thing about the internet. It has revealed just how many strange, disturbed, demented people are in the world. And unfortunately, a lot of them have now got a very big platform to peddle their idiocy. But with someone like Ben Whittaker, I wouldn't say I'm entirely lacking in sympathy for what he's saying, but he hasn't done himself any favours either. Now, if we're talking about someone having their family insulted or threatened, or death threats being made, or horrendous things said about, your mother, your sister, your kids, whatever the case is, then of course I think only a moron would agree with that type of behaviour. And of course, as we know, keyboard warriors are legion, and almost none of them would say anything to your face if they ever met you. I've had a couple on this channel, and I think I'm a pretty reasonable fella. But in the case of Whittaker, what you've got to bear in mind is that he himself has built up his own image and has welcomed it and has done all that showboating, often against people who are entire universes beneath him in terms of talent. And it has come across as him humiliating journeymen and being disrespectful and being arrogant and being self-entitled and all those things which, let's not forget, Muhammad Ali was when he was a young man. And Nassim Hamed was another famous example. Now, I've made no secret of the fact that I don't like showboating. It bores me. I find it really tedious. I just look, get on with it. You're there to fight, or are you there to dance? Are you there to fight, or are you there to act? I'm watching a fight here. I want to see a fight. Just cut the bullshit and get on with it. That's my attitude. It's kind of like trash talking. If there's some wit and some genuine humour there, then yeah, you can have a laugh. But when it's just people hurling insults at each other, like that pathetic build-up to the Mayweather-Conor McGregor fight, we're just slinging profane insults at each other. What's entertaining about that? The table throwers and all this sort of thing. I just find it infantile. But if there's some wit involved, if there's some humour involved, genuine humour, clever humour, then okay, I can live with it. But with Whittaker, I've seen nothing like that. All I see is someone who's created an image. It may be real, it may be fake, it's probably somewhere in the middle, because to be a successful boxer, you've got to have an ego, you've got to have you've got to have self-belief to the point of arrogance, maybe a little bit of arrogance, yeah. But if you're going to push it in people's faces, constantly push it in people's faces, and then things don't go your way, what did you expect? What did you think people would say? What do you think they do? And again, I'm not talking about the ones that, threaten his life or insult his family or do anything or, anything like that. That's not what I'm talking. But people will take the piss. And you know what? They're entitled to take the piss. Why are they entitled to take the piss? Because you kind of put your neck on the block. And you said, I am this, I am that, I am, the best thing since, whatever. And when you're not, when you're made to look stupid, when you're brought down a peg or two, what do you think people are going to do? If you start off rubbing the public's nose in it and then things don't go your way, like in the first Liam Cameron fight, people are going to turn against you. They're going to boo you to the ring. They're not going to be happy when Cameron, gets stopped, in a lot of people's opinion, early. They're going to hurl insults at you. They're not going to be happy that you've won, in other words, because they came there to see you lose. And if you have welcomed that all news is good news attitude, if that's been your default setting, you can't complain when people kind of, turn around and just have disdain for you, Now, I hope that, and he's not a particularly young man, what is he, 27 now? 27, 28 now? Whitaker. I hope that he just cops himself on. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad kid. I haven't met him. I'm never likely to meet him. And I'm not going to judge him as a human being, as a person. You can't look inside someone's heart, can you? You've got to really know them to know what they're all about. And guess what? He's going to have character flaws. Why? Because we've all got character flaws. And it was noticeable, when the fight was over, he was lifting up Cameron's arm and, showing respect to him. And he blamed the confrontation that he had in the immediate aftermath of the fight being stopped when he ran over to Cameron's corner and stuck his head through the ropes. And was it Lee Eaton that he had to go at, or was it the trainer? I don't know. I can't remember. But he had and there was a bit of a fracas, a little bit of handbags going on. Yeah, okay. It was Dave Caldwell was quite scathing on commentary. I think it was Dave Caldwell said it. That shows no respect. That's celebrate with your fans, but don't go over and rub the opponent's nose in it. Well, maybe he's got a lot of growing up to do, Ben Whittaker. Perhaps he regrets doing that. I don't know. But to get back to the original point of this video, you cannot manufacture a certain type of image that is going to sell tickets. You cannot present yourself to the public as being a certain type of character or personality and then whine and complain when the public reject you. The public are entitled to accept you or reject you, And if you want to go down that path where people are buying tickets just to see you beaten, okay, you can do that. But if the public turn around and say, do you know what, I wish you'd lost. I don't like you. Don't cry about it. You're getting paid, aren't you? You won the fight. So if you genuinely don't care what other people think, if it is all about your Lord and Saviour, Jesus Christ, then what are you worried about? What are you complaining for? Don't start grizzling, in the post-fight press conference. I think it's down to maturity, a lot of this stuff. You see this with Conor Benn as well. I mean, the last 2 years, whatever you want to say about Conor Benn, the last 2 years have been a big, big learning curve for him, not as a fighter, but as a man, as a person, he's become a father, hasn't he? He's a father, a couple of times over now. And it's it's inevitable because these kids, they get given enormous signing on fees. They get given massive attention under the spotlights. Thousands of people turning up to see them. They got more money by the time they're in their mid-20s than most people will have by the time they hit their mid-60s. But maturity is something that you can only gather with life experience. And that is why it's so important to have the right people around you. Not just in boxing, but in life. I mean, in life, it's usually your family, or hopefully it will be your family. But a lot of people's families won't know how to protect a boxer or anyone who goes into a specific field which they're not familiar with. So you need good professionals around you, watching out for you. Good manager, good trainer, good promoter, people who who are going to guide you right. So, I don't know. To me, I do have sympathy for Ben Whittaker, considering some of the insults that were given to him and some of the truly horrendous things. Because, to be honest with you, this is why I don't bother with Twitter or X or whatever the fuck it's called. It's a sewer. You know, it's for morons. It's for imbeciles. It's for people who are barely literate. Not a mistake that, you know, Donald Trump loves it and has used it for many, many years. Because it's for people who like sound bites, who don't really have any substance or anything. And you get that. The people who are most prominent on Twitter are the ones that haven't really got much to say. They just like the odd buzzword, the odd phrase that can get them likes or whatever the hell it is that's on Twitter. Social media is not the real world. It's a platform, and it can be used wisely or not so wisely, but it's just a tool. It's not the real world. This that I'm doing now is not the real world. YouTube is not the real world. You know, the advent of the internet, again, as spectacular as the technology is, it's really just a tool to be used. It can be used like anything else. You know, you can use a spanner to I don't know, sort something out on your car, or you can use it to belt someone over the head with. It can be used well, what it's designed for, or it can be used in a negative way. You can use a dinner fork or a knife to cut your food, or you can use them to stab people with. The internet is not that important, not really. And I think if you're the age Ben Whittaker is, and he's not the only one, there are others, Ben is another one, but people put way, way, way too much stock in what is said about them and what they say to others online, especially through social media, which is, at best, it's a minefield, and at worst, it's a fucking sewer. So that's my spiel for today. Don't know whether you agree with me or not. Leave your comments below. If you like this video, hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And of course, thank you for your time. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Easter Monday. And until next time, bye for now.